Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome for a very festive grid talk for December. But yeah, welcome everyone. This one is just sort of reflections of 2023. We're going to go through some of the kind of key client successes, some of the key capability projects we've done this year, and look at kind of the key additions that we've made to the platform, and then a look ahead for this year. So yeah, for those, I think I looked at the list. I think everyone's kind of been to a grid talk before, but for those, if there are some new members, yeah, so grid talk is just our way of giving back, just sharing best practice on capability development. For those that are new to Livestorm, you'll see on the right hand side, you can chat, ask us questions, and also we'll be posting links to the next grid talk and some of the assets that we go through on this conversation. So yeah, please familiarize yourself with the platform. Whilst we're here, what we do in January, I'll just signpost it now. I think a link might have come up. Is this is following on from the senior user forum that we ran in October. We did a real deep dive focus session on how you embed capability development within the organization, and we covered the kind of canvas, the kind of principles. There's a few more resources we've built to support that. So there's a white paper, there's a canvas, and also a sort of capability tracking tool. So we're going to go through that in January on the 24th. So if that's of interest, yeah, please share with it across your organisation, but also please register. It should be a really good event. That's January on the 25th. Yeah, same time, 1 to 2. Cool. Introductions. I think I'll do me, and then so yeah, for those that don't know me, I'm Pip Morpeth. I'm head of professional services for Method Grid. Rachel, Jody, do you want to do introductions?
Sure, I'm Jody. I'm head of product here at Method Grid. I'm responsible for working with the business and our clients to deliver the best app and experience possible, be that new features or improvements. And for my woe, also project managing the planning and delivery of those new features and improvements.
Hi, I'm Rachel. Most of you will know me from the customer success side of the business. I've recently moved into a new role, so I am now the strategic account manager for Method Grid.
Cool. Right. As usual, I'm just going to, for those that do not know anything about Method Grid, I'm just going to run through this very quickly, and then we'll get on to the kind of key reflections for this year. So just a bit about us. The main problem, and we call it kind of the shared problem statement we help clients with, is just helping organizations reduce cost of poor quality that comes from inconsistent service project delivery. I'm sure, as you know, the kind of typical pain points in terms of people not following process consistently, not being effective and productive. Probably what's the most call out, number 6, is also, people constantly reinventing the wheel or kind of repeating the same mistakes over and over again. The so what for us, and this is kind of what we focus our business on fixing, with the platform and through professional services, is we recognize that organizations, you have to provide some clarity on method, approach, ways of working. It's also then making sure that you can track that people are following it and being compliant with it. Also giving them the freedom to actually tailor it and right size it for their particular project, for their particular client. That's probably another key factor for compliance. 3 is people capability, and there's probably from us, there's going to be a big focus on this for next year. Well, how do you, if you want to improve compliance and consistency, how do you equip people with the confidence to be able to execute that method consistently? And we've been designing a few services with a few of our clients about how we actually enable that. So we'll talk probably a bit more about that for next year. And also, regardless, those kind of 3 things are in your gift to control, but there'll always be kind of residual risk in project delivery. So this is about how do you ensure that the standards, the audit, the controls are actually integrated into delivery, and if there are audit assurance actions, how do you probably evolve beyond the typical spreadsheet thrown over and try and fix it? So how do you get to a more integrated audit and assurance team with delivery. Cool. And for the bit about the platform bit, so obviously the platform, I think most of you guys have kind of seen it before, but the core concept of the platform is you can build kind of master playbooks that define how you want to deliver particular services. You clone that playbook, and then you can give that playbook to project managers. They can tailor it, right size it for the particular scope of the project or the client. And that's what teams can then use to track delivery, collaborate, and used as a kind of resource to help them with delivery. We then added the ability to add stage gates. You can attach evidence for particular controls so that you can assure delivery. And I think this is probably the most valuable bit, which is teams can then work out, okay, well, what worked well, what didn't work well, and then make changes to the master playbook so that the next clone, the next iteration of it being used in practice actually benefits from those changes and those improvements. Okay. And then just finally, just a bit about us. Our purpose is really just helping teams improve how they deliver projects and services. And our vision for the business is to build the world's leading AI-empowered knowledge and project management platform. And we have some fantastic clients. So I think some of them are on the call. So Amy, Arup, Gleeds, Mace, Network Rail, TNT. So and it's a real strong focus on the AEC sector. Cool. Right, Rachel, over to you. Talk about 2023.
Well, 2023, what a year it has been. So we have brought on some amazing new clients, from our partner in the financial space, Altus, to onboarding the University of Coventry, our new client, Ward Williams Associates, and we're just about to launch a project with the Mace Dragados JV on High Speed 2, which is incredible. Of course, some big names that you saw on that previous slide there, such as Amy and Gleeds, which we have also brought on this year. But looking right back to the beginning of this year, we were still working on site with our wonderful client colleagues, Arup, building out the amazing Maps toolkit. Now, Pip, that engagement was fairly long. We were looking at nearly a year of engagement with Arup to build out that impressive toolkit. But we've also just brought on Amy and Gleeds, which the process and engagement with those two was starkly different to what we did with Arup. What was the key difference there? Can you tell us a little bit about how things have changed for how we actually go on site and engage with clients currently?
Yeah, no, sure. I think probably with most organizations, especially kind of in professional services, there's the application of AI. Now, I think in 2022, we would undertaking and building a playbook without AI is quite a manual process, and it kind of has to involve loads of SMEs, and you're asking SMEs to write the draft, write the hints and tips about your project management plan, write the description, write the quality criteria, and it's quite an undertaking. Most of our enterprise playbooks, there's about sort of circa 250 elements involved, so it was a massive undertaking. I think Arup's playbook is probably one of the best we've ever engineered, and it's a global playbook. It's kind of all of their regions and all of their global kind of SMEs contributed to its development, but probably the most difficult part of it was getting to that first draft and that challenge. And I think Arup's timeline was it was a 9-month project for us to get maps built, tested, and ready for early piloting and then release. I think if there's any advert for AI, I think I'm about to do it. But in terms of like Amy's playbook is probably similar size in terms of effort. It's kind of PMO. It's their complete PMO as a service offering. And probably I think it's about 200. It's more. It's probably like 270, 280 elements, and we built that in 6 weeks. And I think we're still using what we add on top in terms of review, but in terms of getting you to a first draft of a playbook that you can launch and pilot with users, it's not months now. It's just a matter of weeks. And I think that for us is probably, I mean, we were playing around with it Q4 last year, and then it was great to test it with, like you said, Altus. It was great to test it with WWA, and we kind of really have perfected the model now. And I think probably Amy is the one that's probably benefited from how we've trialed and used it. But yeah, I mean, to do any massive playbook build for program project delivery in 6 weeks is really fantastic.
It is. It's an incredible achievement. And so, I mean, the embedding of AI into the platform has clearly been quite revolutionary for us. Jody, can you tell us a little bit about the journey? How did we even come about looking at AI, and what was the process like of actually starting to think about building it into the platform?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's interesting to remember that it was only this time last year that OpenAI's ChatGPT was going viral, right, and taking over. It's literally only been 12 months. And we were really lucky in our dev team to have one of our lead developers, Mark North, who last year was doing his master's at Bath University in machine learning and AI, and this year has started his doctorate at Durham in machine learning and AI. So we were quite well placed. It was kind of on our horizon anyway. And I think just the early release of OpenAI and their fantastic model just accelerated it for us. So as soon as that kind of, the other models were available, but as soon as that took off the way it did, and, every company has clearly been looking at AI all the 2023. It's the story of 2023, right? So we started, our dev team get every Friday afternoon R&D time. So often we'll try out new ideas for features for the app on those afternoons. And Mark took that forward straight away. And then we have our twice a year senior user forum. So in April, we took some of those concepts, very early stage, this is how it could work concepts, to the customers at the senior user forum and got their feedback. And from there, we built our first iteration of the AI assistant in the app, which is now available as a beta. Talk to our customer success department if you'd like to get in on the beta and start using it. We initially went for the build process of our cycle: build, deliver, assure, enhance. So look, we all know AI is fantastic for creating content. The first stage of our cycle is building content. It's a great fit. We took a slightly unique stance on it in that we already had our elements, which contain the knowledge in our grids. You could already build templates for those. So we added the ability of, in the templates, having prompts in each of the area, so that when you then use that template in an element and gave it a title, it could build out all the content using the prompts in those areas to give you a first draft of an element. Make me an element that describes what a project brief is and make the tasks for doing it. So not only would it make the content, it could add tasks for you, it could add links, all that kind of good stuff. And then alongside that, we brought in just a general AI assistant tool, and you can use that in any text area and prompt it to create you some content. So you can, but I think for us, the unique bit is the template and the fact that just creates almost the entire, it's not like a backwards and forwards prompt. It just gives you a great first draft. And then you can either tweak it yourself or use the AI assistant to tweak it yourself. And that was our big release. And that OpenAI, end of November, I think it came out, and we had our first iteration in the app by June.
And in terms of the content that's produced, Pip, from the feedback you've had from clients for that first draft, what sort of percentage are we looking at in terms of, is it accurate?
Yeah, no, I think what we've done a really great job of is really being able to tailor the AI for the actual client, like Network Rails build, like taking Pace and taking all of their kind of standards, which I think Alice knows them more than I, but there's like, there's 15 core standards across the piece, and training it on that, and then building content off the back of that. We were with them yesterday. They were just blown away with the quality of it. And when we send it out to kind of SMEs across the Network Rail community of like product owners, feedback's been absolutely fantastic. A few tweaks. I think there's always sometimes where it just needs a bit more education on a few more really bespoke topics. But in general, if you build it, the feedback's been absolutely fantastic for that first draft. And I won't oversell it, but it's been that consistent as well across other clients. Feedback from kind of Amy and Gleeds as well is fantastic. Probably, I think the key lesson that came from yesterday's session is probably this AI goes faster than what SMEs can actually handle. So there's a bit of trying to bit of balance of, okay, well, how much review effort can you actually push through, because you can build elements incredibly quickly at high quality. So that's the lesson that we took from yesterday, is just balancing it as we do the implementations.
Yeah, it's incredible. I definitely would love to chat a little bit more about Network Rail, but before we move into that, just a signpost: if anyone on this session hasn't seen the Maps toolkit, we have done a grid talk looking at the work that we did with Arup. So please feel free to pop back onto the website and have a look. It is really impressive, the work that has been done there. But as you mentioned, Pip, we have started our partnership with Network Rail, which is just incredible, with the first part of that partnership to digitalize PACE. But actually, when we first started the conversations with Network Rail, it was, as our CEO would put it, a bit of a head scratch moment, because what they were after was not something that we actually were providing at the time. Can you tell our audience a little bit about what that journey has looked like?
Well, I think it's a long conversation, I think, between us and Network Rail to get it right. I think the challenge for Network Rail is, and if I was, their vision for where they want to take it is fantastic. We're with them yesterday, and it keeps just getting bigger and bigger. But I think it probably will be a kind of showcase for the industry. But for what they want to be able to do is publish PACE to the industry. Here's all the products, here's all the information you need, here's video explainers, here's the templates, here is in the future, here's all the learning that you need, and here's all the standards, access to the standards. But that's a massive reach for them. It's not, and they want to make it an industry resource, and they're kind of, well, I've got all of the Network Rail employees, I've got all of the supply chain. That's not going to work for us. Kind of a commercial model where it's a kind of user per seat per license. But that's the outcome we want to do. We want to make a real impact. We want to make sure that people have the confidence to execute PACE, and it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're a Network Rail employee or if you work in the rail industry. We want to ensure that we give you the confidence to apply the ways of working for capital project delivery. And that's where the shape kind of the product is, well, can we engineer a kind of public read-only capability that you can build playbooks, and then you can obviously choose whether you want to use them for assurance and delivery, but also, okay, actually I want to reach out and I've got to kind of communicate this to a massive organization. Can we publish this as a resource that everyone can have access to? And that is the concept of read only. And I think probably the feedback is how quickly we've managed to turn that kind of concept they wanted into a reality. Because we started July and we launch now in January. It'll be fantastic. I think both of us, both parties, are really proud kind of what we've built, and I think probably more importantly how we built it, because it's been a real fantastic collaboration between the both of us, kind of Method Grid Network Rail team.
Absolutely. I mean, the feedback has been just phenomenal, and this is a brand new feature for our platform as well. This was something that was completely just conceptual when Dom was having these early conversations with Network Rail. So Jody, the feedback we had yesterday, we were on site with Network Rail, was just the scoping that you did, the accuracy of everything that they were after, and then the speed of your actual development of this feature was just incredible. Can you give us a little bit of insight about how that worked behind the scenes?
Yeah, sure. So, well, we're first of all, we're lucky to have a good partnership with Network Rail. So, they were always on hand to plan it out. But they had a great idea of their requirements for what they wanted a public version of our grids to look like and deliver to their contractors and partners. So we worked very closely with them, and we stepped it out into how we would build something as a feature in the app. We're also, of course, very lucky to have a great dev team, great front end team, and a great a senior back end who actually joined us this year, and it was his first major project on the app. So what a great hire that was, Ayadal. And he helped us build that. So, but it's a unique challenge because we were taking something, Method Grid prides itself on the security of our platform, and then you're taking something that traditionally has always been behind a login, right? And now we're taking it, if you want to, take it public. So it presented some unique challenges, but we had actually, it had always been a sort of thought in the back of our mind that people might want this one day. So, we'd sort of set the bedrock a bit for it. So that helped us when it came to building it. And then when we designed it, we wanted it to make it something that any of our clients could potentially use in the future. It's been very much designed for our larger clients and the very large public sector clients like Network Rail. So now if you have this feature enabled, you can, when you're building out your grid, when you're ready and it's ready to go public, you simply toggle it to public and it gives you a URL you can share with anyone. And that takes away the need for anyone to log in. We've also got some analytics on there so you can see which resources people are downloading and using. So your entire methodology is then public, and that can include any templates and things you've got up there that people can download. And then another key part of it, which was kind of a secondary part of it, which we added on, was to ensure that the public grid met the AA accessibility standard, which is required for public government resources like this. So that is now done. I mean, it requires some work on the actual content itself, which Network Rail have taken on, and our team as well. So when it goes live, it will meet those AA standards as well. So, I think
that was a bit of a, I think for Network Rail, they were kind of, when they said that it was going to make it public, they were like, oh, well, you've got to go and meet the Cabinet Office technology code of conduct. And that was kind of a last minute thing. So we got fantastic feedback yesterday. I think the way we've responded and given them kind of all the documentation about how we meet that code of conduct is kind of, has helped other kind of functions within Network Rail take it further forward. So that was really fantastic, and to meet the kind of, was it 2.0, and I think we're looking at 2.2 requirements. Just helps us meet the kind of accessibility challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic piece of work, and our partnership with Network Rail is of course ongoing, and we'll touch a little bit more on that in our look forward. But speaking of fantastic partnerships, we also partner with a key client that we all love, Oxford Brookes University. Now, Oxford Brookes are incredible at giving feedback on the platform. They are one of our most active users. They're very active at talking to us, and they really help shape what the platform and the future of the platform is going to look like. And so they were a real key driver in one of, if not the biggest feature release we at Method Grid have ever done, which came about this year. Of course, I'm referring to our release of Gantt. So we now have the Gantt functionality available within the platform. Pip, can you just tell us a little bit about how transformative this has already been for our clients?
I think, fundamentally for us, Rachel, I can't remember, was it 2022? Yeah, we recognized that, we're great at like playbook build, but we really want to help clients with that journey of, okay, well, if I wanted to use playbooks to drive delivery, then there's kind of features and functionality that we need in order to help organizations do that. no more than, I think, OBU would have kind of agitated us to it and say, look, they were using the platform in delivery without Gantt. And very rightly, that yes, we can do it, but it's not easy. And I think that was the key bit for us, is okay, well, if we can make it that you can build your playbook, and then you can build the master schedule that says, well, here's the schedule, the standard durations that you would anticipate in project delivery. And then when you clone it, you have all of that intelligence, all of that logic, all of that kind of persistence. You've got an out of the box schedule. Well, that's fantastic. I mean, that is a fantastic feature in itself. And where were we? It was a couple of weeks ago. We went to see them, and just absolutely, they were absolutely delighted with it. I mean, I know it's MVP and it's the kind of first iteration, and we've got further plans. Jody, I'll let you talk about that. But we were just delighted to kind of help make it easier for those teams to be able to do delivery, and for everyone that uses the platform.
Absolutely. And I think the real game changer for us is absolutely that cloning ability. There are Gantt charts out there in the world, of course, but being able to clone that structure for each of your projects is just unbelievably just such a time saver. Of course, Jody, we will look into what's coming up for Gantt in the new year, but in terms of looking back at this build, there was nothing simple or easy about this build, let's be honest. And there was a big chunk of work that had to predicate actually even being able to release Gantt, which was, of course, our full restructure of notifications.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah, I mean, it was a huge feature release for us, Gantt. We'd always had due dates and assigning in your basic functionality to schedule work, but Gantt just takes that so much further, and we didn't want to release our first MVP of the Gantt without everything you really need to be using a Gantt. So it had to have dependencies. Clearly it had to have start end date durations. Well, we wanted lead and lag time, things like that, and dependency types. So we knew our ambition to get there was very high, and I think we built the early prototype in February this year. And then again, we showed it to our clients, of course, including OBU, to get feedback on that, mostly at the April Senior User Forum, but we also talked to all key clients, showed them that demo, because it was important to get the structure right. The grid lends itself to the Gantt structure very nicely. We have our stages, our elements and stage gates, and then the tasks with those. But the interplay between those and the dependencies, once you've set it up in the Gantt, was always going to be complicated. And we spent a long time building the scheduling engine. And it then also became apparent that with that type of dependency and scheduling, if you're changing a date up at one level of a Gantt, you can affect 400 tasks throughout the Gantt, which would then change, which our notification system was not really ready to do. In fact, notification system would have sent out 400 different notifications to people. So we had to completely refactor our notification system. But I think that was a great thing, because it's now better, and our users have more control over the notifications they get. And the key part of it was to kind of batch them up. No one wants to get a notification for every single date change when there could be 400 of those. If all those things are assigned to you, you're going to get 400 notifications. We had to kind of batch that up and ensure that you've got one notification with a kind of option to go and look at all the others if you wished. But a great bedrock for the app, the notifications for the future as well.
Jody, I think the other side benefit of kind of notifications was the kind of platform now is fully white labeled, because now the emails are kind of client branded as well, which is another kind of step. The app looks like is branded for you. The way you receive notifications is now client branded. It always feels like your platform, not like a system. I think that's another kind of key tick in giving clients that that feeling really of ownership.
That's right.
Absolutely. And also another small but mighty feature that has come out of that new release as well is the follow-unfollow feature, which for the people on the ground doing the work, not so relevant, but we have a lot of people on the app that are high-level managers. They just want to have notifications for the things that they really need to know that's going on, but also, not get notified of absolutely everything that's going on in the platform. So being able to unfollow specific grids has been really helpful as well for those higher tiered managers, which is great. In terms of the build and implementation of Gantt, Jody, is there any key lessons learned or any key highlights that you would like to talk about?
I think in terms of the Gantt, it was one of those true kind of epics. We had to split it into, I think, 7 or 8 separate releases, all the way from the first release being a prototype. Is this even going to work? Which it did, all the way through to the final release, which was in kind of the first week of November. The next, I think one of our key lessons is experimentation is key earlier on. You can plan something on paper all you like, but when it often hits the reality of the code and what you're building, it can all change. So I think the key for us was the early prototyping and the early conversations with the clients who were going to use it, which I think directly led to the positive release. Because you never know until you release something if it's going to be well received. But if you've had that chance to prototype it and basically have it what you think the final product's going to look like months before you release that final product, it's a fantastic way to deliver it.
Absolutely. Now, with the year that we've had, bringing on some incredible clients, also, of course, continuing those amazing relationships with our current clients, and the release of read-only, which is coming up, we suddenly find that we have actually grown our user base quite significantly, which is amazing, but also means perhaps a little bit of a review of our infrastructure and security improvements. I know there's been a whole host of work going on in the background there, Jody. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the sort of things are that you and Ian have been working on?
Yeah, so Ian is one of my fellow co-founders of the app, is really our key technical co-founder alongside myself, and Ian is responsible for all our infrastructure. So while all these, some people are building all these new and interesting features like Gantt, we've got Ian and some of the other dev team who are doing really crucial improvements to the performance of the app, which you kind of, as a user, you never really see. There's nothing new to see. There's no new fancy button or anything new features here to see. But hopefully you start to experience, the speed of the app is getting quicker. Things open quicker. We're able to co-edit things and things like that. We also brought in some new security features. So there's 2-factor now, which really, if you're a SaaS application, if you haven't got 2-factor, I think it's definitely time to start looking at that. But it became a requirement, I think, in the UK for their Cyber Essentials this year for the first time. So, if the SaaS applications you're using in your business don't have 2-factor, you need a fairly good reason for not having it. And that was alongside our single sign-on. So we also worked with OBU to put their single sign-on in as an integration as well. So now everyone who's a user of MethodGrid at Oxford Brookes as a simple single sign-on feature. And we have it for the common ones like Microsoft and Okta and those kind of things as well. Yeah, but those kind of general infrastructure improvements, they're always going on. But I'd say this year was a big leap forward in the work we've done. So congratulations to Ian and the team.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Just in relation to Gantt, again, if you haven't seen our Gantt product, please do pop over to our webinars page. Jody and I did a 101 special edition GRIDtalk all about Gantt. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that feature, please jump on and have a look. So, of course, a few times we've mentioned during this session today our senior user forums, which are fantastic events that we bring in not just client colleagues, but also just people that work in the industry and friends of the business that we just love having all in the room and being able to share that best practice and, just building out that awesome community that we have. So some of the key highlights for this year, obviously we had our friends from One Advisory come in and show their use case, which is quite unique. Pip, would you be able to tell people a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you say it's quite unique, I think it's becoming quite popular as a playbook other clients are interested in. So One Advisory I'd say that they're kind of COSEC BPO provider, service provider for top firms. If you want to kind of all your kind of annual results, all the kind of external events that you have to run and manage that, including your kind of publication of your financial reports. Well, One Advisory provide that as a service, and they've got, I can't remember, I think it's quite a broad portfolio of clients. And they've built a playbook that just controls that for each client. So they're always on top of where the events are, all the controls that need to go with that, and the dates and times to ensure that companies meet their obligations. Just recently, we're working with a few other clients. They're like, "Oh, yeah, actually, we'd like to build our kind of COSEC playbook." And I think that's one where you kind of want to encourage that, where hopefully Angie at One Advisory would share her best practices and techniques from what they've learned to help other clients benefit from that. But yeah, just another application of Method Grid, really, just helping you kind of bring controls and process around that process.
And we also had our partners from Network Rail come and visit us and join us for a senior user forum as well, which was fantastic, just to run through the build at pace, which was great. As I mentioned, there's a GRIDtalk on that. Please feel free to have a look. But the new thing that we had for our most recent senior user forum was actually a panel of experts that came in and talked us through some interesting key topics. How did you find that, Pip? And is that something that we're going to continue in the future?
Yeah, I think. How did I find it? I think running a panel is quite stressful. I think, or getting everything, making sure everyone is there and it's going to work. And I think it was our first panel that we wanted to run at the kind of senior user forum. So I think there was us being nervous. Or how's it going to come across? It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, and probably in credit to Dom and the panelists, which was kind of Amy, Arup. And it was kind of obviously rail focused for the day. It was fantastic. Real nice balance of kind of insight, thoughts, but with a bit of kind of humor in it. So I think, I kind of reflect. I think we've put it up on YouTube. It's definitely worth a watch. But I think given the format and the kind of feedback that we had from everyone, I think we'll do more panels, conversations at each kind of forum we do. I think so. It's kind of embedded now into what we do as future forums.
Amazing. Jody, I know that obviously we bring in the whole team to join us at these senior user forums, and the feedback from our development team is fantastic, because it's very rare that they actually get to be in front of clients and meet clients and understand what they're doing. So that is a really great takeaway that we have from these events. But from your perspective and as a team, what do you get out of these events?
So, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know how often you might go to Microsoft and meet their development team, right? I mean, maybe, I guess, but probably not very common. But certainly at our user forums, the whole dev team is there. Because a lot of the time, they're kind of siloed off, building the features in the app, and they're not always seeing how our clients use the application. So we always try and make sure the user forum, that not just for our other clients to get a sign of best practice, but so does the dev and product team. I mean, clearly for the product team, it's crucial, talking to the clients and understanding their pain points. That's what that's our number one priority. So we can prioritize, the list of features that we are asked to put into Method Grid. I don't know, it's about 250, 300 strong, I think. So the user forums are the opportunity for us to talk to the key clients that are there and understand their pain points and present them, kind of with what we think might be the top 10 of the next tools that you might need, and it's not always new things. It's quite often just improvement to the existing features. And it's our chance to hear their feedback on those. And many of them, we workshop those ideas as well. So, the Gantt started as a workshop in one of those user forums, and less than 12 months later, it's a reality in the app, and the AI assistant has every feature that goes into that pretty much starts as a discussion point or at least a demo of some R&D idea at the user forum. So it's a great opportunity for our clients to just come and tell us what they want, and we help.
I think Jody, that I got feedback. I spoke to a couple of clients yesterday, and they actually really just enjoy the forum, just to listen to how other organisations are using Method Grid, and they're all like AC. There's a lot of AEC, obviously PS firms, and I think I remember I was like, well, are they actually going to chat, interact, share ideas? And we got it yesterday. Like they actually really enjoy it. It's not kind of we do X, Y. They actually do kind of share their thoughts, their feedback on how we're using Method Grid to help us with capability build and development. I think, if I'm honest, that's probably the most valuable bit for them. They get value from it, from the kind of content, the kind of network that they're building, and obviously it's fantastic for us because it just gives us real kind of client voice into what we build, how we build the platform.
Absolutely. Jody, just to lean into that a little bit more, in terms of the prioritization of our roadmap, do we really lean towards what clients are saying? Often you'll hear that, software firms are just putting out features that they think work, they think clients want. How do we actually take on board that feedback from clients? Is it the most important thing in terms of what we're going to build?
Well, I think it is. Yeah, there's always, there's always a little bit of, you can't help but have a vision for what you think it should be. But really, it's our clients that are using the app, and it's their pain points. I'm not from an AEC background, so more conversations we have with our clients in the AEC and PS industry, the better. Yeah, and we don't, we're constantly getting feedback into the customer success team and directly to myself and through yourself, Rachel, as one person's pain point in the app might not be anyone else's pain point in the app. One person might want this feature and another one wants this feature. We have to kind of balance out not necessarily what we think, but the ones we have a scoring system essentially to say, well, how many people are asking for this? How many people are asking for this? What do we think the value of it is? There is, to a certain extent, a little bit of finger in the air when it comes to scoring it. But, the easy thing to score is, well, look, 9 out of 10 clients are asking for this thing. I think that's a pretty good indicator that we should build it. Whereas someone thought it should be this and no clients are asking for that. So in many ways, the client feedback drives it all really. But, when it comes to the kind of the R&D that we do, I mean, almost anything goes really there. As long as it's in the knowledge and project management sphere, we're not going to next Instagram or anything. But as long as it's in that, and that quite often brings that creativity up as well. But even when we do that, we take them back to our clients at these events, and what do you think? That it's just a crazy idea of ours, or has it got value? So yeah, for me, number one priority is what people want.
I think that is one of the real privileges for working for a company like Method Grid, is the human centricity of what we do. We are always listening to our clients, working really closely with our clients. You will have heard us refer to them as partnerships often. Software companies can be a bit dry, and we really try to avoid that and make sure that we're as human-centric as we possibly can be. So I personally, at least, I think that is such a privileged place for us to be. And just on that note, obviously, with the growth of Method Grid generally, the Method Grid team also grows along with that. So we have had some really key and amazing hires this year. You will have heard me say that I'm a customer success role this year and into the strategic account management role. So therefore, we needed to backfill that customer success role and made an awesome hire in our new customer success manager, Rob. I'm sure most of you have already met him, but he is a fantastic asset to the team. Really, really customer focused, of course, and just really great to talk to, easy to get the new features across. I think Rob has done just an amazing job of the release of Gantt, going out, doing all of those demonstrations and training sessions. Gantt is not an easy feature to understand if you've not used it before, and he's just really helped simplify all of that. So welcome aboard, Rob, and thank you for all of your great work so far. Pip, in your team, we've had a couple of key hires as well.
Yeah, no, kind of just goes to our kind of growth really, and probably what type of services that we now offer. So obviously AI has helped us massively build playbooks a lot cheaper and consolidate our time, but it's really helped us focus, well, where do you add more value? So we're now helping organizations build kind of e-learning video explainers to kind of bring playbooks to life. So Luke's joined the team, and he's been fantastic. He's built network rails, all video explainers. They're now getting built with sign language on it to meet the kind of accessibility requirements. So massive, first sort of assignment thrown in at the deep end, and he's been absolutely fantastic. And then Sam joined as well, who's sort of my kind of number two, which is just helping us with productionizing kind of some of the other propositions we offer, but also just helping with the reach, because we're kind of really well founded in AEC sector, and we'll continue with that. We're also getting a lot of interest from kind of utilities, energy, oil and gas, and education, I think, there's kind of other opportunities in the education sector as well for us. So it's just, we just need a bit more horsepower just to support that.
You've already given a very brief shout out, Jody, but you also had an amazing hire into your team this year.
That's right. In the dev team, we had Ayodel join us from Spain, and he's come on as a senior back-end developer, and he was completely thrown in at the deep end by being given the Networks Rail read-only project as his first thing, which, it's just to say it's been dropped in at the deep end would be an understatement, I think. But he handled it brilliantly, and his work is fantastic. And we're really lucky to have him. Long may the growth of the dev team continue.
Absolutely. So now looking ahead, 2024, what does 2024 have in store for MethodGrid? Obviously, the read-only of PACE goes live in January, Pip. This is very exciting.
Yeah, no, I think January. I think Q1's going to be really busy for us, because essentially, was it PACE National, which is what gets released in January, and it's just there's going to be a lot of support for that, because it's all supply chain, it's all employees, so it's a massive business change communication project for us. Also, I think read-only, there's a number of other kind of public bodies that are kind of interested in kind of what Network Rail are doing in terms of doing that. So I think we're kind of preparing ourselves. We're having very early conversations with some of those organizations about that.
And from your perspective as well, Pip, there is another service offering that we have just recently launched, which is the MethodGrid Academy. Yeah,
we call it kind of Academy and Learning Services. So I talked about it at the start, is you've got the playbook, and we can build that really quickly. I think now is kind of where can we focus value so that people have confidence to actually apply that playbook, and that's where we can start building kind of e-learning courses. We can build video explainers that just give you a kind of a different learning experience as you're using the playbook. Certainly giving people the confidence to execute it. That's the real value of that service.
I honestly just can't get over how amazing all of this content is. These video explainers that the PS team are building out are just unbelievable, world class. Honestly, if you haven't seen them, go over to our YouTube channel. There are some up there. They're just phenomenal. So do take a look. Now, we mentioned that Gantt is in its MVP. Jody, tell us what's coming down the line for Gantt.
Yes, so there's lots of things coming up for the product in 2024. I think so nailed down in Q1 is we want to take the Gantt up to the account level, the portfolio level. So the Gantt exists within your individual project grids at the moment. We want to bring that a level up so you can review the Gantt of all your projects, which is a big step for us. And then really all the way probably to the end of 2024, we'll be constantly releasing little add-ons for the Gantt. So, we'd like to get baselining in there, like to get critical path in there. We'd like to get some more ability to edit things in there as well. So I think, to be honest, I don't think the Gantt will ever stop evolving and getting better and better and better. It's like, it's never finished, right? It will never be perfect, and it will never be finished. There'll always be something that we want to add in. So it's one of the number one priorities for 2024 is to get it up there and make sure that it's it's kind of best in class Gantt. It's a tier 1 tool. This can be your Gantt tool.
Absolutely. And so on that note, if you do have feedback while you're using your Gantt tool, please do get in touch with support or CS and let us know. As you can tell from this chat, we are all ears. We'd love having that feedback, so do let us know. The other obviously exciting piece that we have going on, Jody, is of course the new features that are coming down the line for AI. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's going to look like in 2024?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to early 2024, based on, and this is on, again, feedback from our clients. So the tool that we've got in there at the moment helps you generate content. We're going to put in the ability to ground it, so what's called source grounding in AI. So rather than AI just kind of going out there and taking all its knowledge to create you some content, you can focus its efforts by feeding it source material. And you'll be able to upload PDFs, things like that, point it at websites, and then eventually also point it at your own internal knowledge that's in MethodGrid. So short term, that's on its way, but there's a whole strategy now in the app to weave AI into it. And it's not just, we don't just want to pay lip service to that. We don't just want it to be, we've just stuck Chat GPT in it and you can talk to it, right? So the first stage of that is the source grounding. So you're not just talking to ChatGPT, you're talking to your grids. So that's where we see it going this year. So initially that would be to surface knowledge. So it likely be a chat kind of interface because that is the one people are familiar with. But essentially you can talk to your account, find me the template for doing a project plan, and it will come back with all the templates for you. It can be attached to a grid, so you can start talking to your grid. So find me the elements that are outstanding in this grid, and it will list them, and you can open them up. And we want to take that a stage further. So we're breaking it down into you're going to create your knowledge, you're going to find it like a souped up search, but we also want you to be able to take actions and insights from it. So things like, and which we have recently had a demo of that Mark's been working on, is you can talk to your grid, but not just ask it about, kind of like a super Google that you're asking questions about the content in there. You're actually doing things with it. So for instance, in the demo we've just done, you can ask the grid to summarize all the tasks that are ragged red, and it will create a table of those tasks directly from your grid. And then, we want to take that further to say, okay, now assign those tasks to Sue and draft an email to Sue with that table in and the reason I'm assigning those things. So basically, and this is an often requested feature, is kind of bulk assigning things, which we have for tasks, but not necessarily for elements and things. So we see this as a way of getting there quickly to this. Gone are the days where you just get a massive table and you kind of just have to go down, tick them all, tick the ones you want to reassign and do that. You'll just be able to do it in a kind of natural language way. So I could say, take all the elements that are labeled mandatory and assign them to Rachel, and it will just go and do that for you without the need, to even, all you got to do is type. And who knows, perhaps you'll just talk to it eventually. And then the other step we've also talked about is the ability for it to create kind of status reports and stage gate reports for you. So I mentioned that our existing tool has templates, which it will then build the content for you. Kind of the natural evolution of that could be you have a template for a stage gate report, or you have a template for a project stage report, and it's got the prompts in it. So all you need to say is, create me the report for this stage, and it will take all the information from the grid, put it in the report, and there you go. What a time saver.
Yeah, I think that's the probably big push next year is how do we get AI to help us with the efficiency push. So I think it's naturally going to happen, but just enabling that for clients is going to be one of the key benefits we help them with.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. Keep an eye out for our leader. I believe there's going to be potentially a little sneak preview of what that future feature could look like. So do keep an eye out for that. So thank you so much, Pip, Jody. 2024 is looking very exciting. Obviously, we have only scratched the surface of what is coming up for us. These are some key and very exciting things. But of course, we will have our senior user forums next year, looking bigger and better than ever. So also keep an eye out for those invitations. But if anyone has any questions for us, whether it's about the platform, whether it's about our professional services, or just generally, please do pop them in the chat now. And we will run a little Q&A to go over anything you would like to cover.
I can see someone's typing at the moment, so
yes.
everyone will fill the air for a minute and it'll come in. Looking forward to next year, says Rab.
Yeah, and I think just to all that have joined, I know there's quite a number of regular people that join these. Just just from all of us, really, just have a fantastic Christmas, New Year as well. It's been a great year for us. I'm sure it's been a busy year, but yeah, no, it's been. And thank you for all that came to the senior user forums, our events, grid talks. It does really make a difference for us. Yeah, that's been fantastic.
Absolutely. I obviously moving from CS, I have had a lot of contact with everybody over the course of the year, and it has just been incredible and such a privilege for me to work with you all. I've really enjoyed every single minute of it, and I'm really looking forward to the next challenge. But I think we're just so lucky to get to do what we do, and especially looking at some of the projects that we're doing, like with Network Rail, things that have real impact in the industry and could change things potentially globally one day. I feel like we're very lucky to be able to be involved.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Let me wrap it up because it's been a bit of a busy week this week, and I'm sure people are wanting to close down for Christmas. So, quick summary, just guys. There's a few resources that are going to come out. So I'll just signpost those. So we've got obviously building world-class playbooks. That's available, so you can click on the link and get access to that. We're just about to launch, and it's kind of the capability canvas, so you can use that. That'll go out very soon. Dom's Lessons Learned 2.0, that's out for consultation. I think that'll be coming out very soon as well. And then in sort of preparation for January's Grid Talk, which is about the capability formula. I know a number of people enjoyed the conversation at Senior User Forum, but now I'm just going to make it for everyone. We're just going to go through that. So that white paper will come out early for consultation in January, ahead of, hopefully, wrong button. The Grid Talk. So yeah, this is a real focus on how do you drive capability development, capability management in your organization with the kind of building blocks and the principles needed. And there's some fantastic resources that we're going to make available to support you with that. But I think, from me, it's been a fantastic year. Once again, thank you so much for everyone that's joined. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, it's been a fantastic year. Have a fantastic Christmas. Have a good rest. It's been great. Okay.
Thanks, everyone. See you next year.
Well.